I live in a 120-year-old boarding house that sits on an old apple orchard. I am in the middle of renovating a kitchen that was last touched in 1978, and I have a deep desire to create an English-styled country cottage home. And today I am outfitting my kitchen with old, new, repurposed, and thrifted items. No more decor for the sake of decor. Everything in this kitchen has to have at least one proper job. So let's talk about the well-curated kitchen. My name is Laura, and welcome to Applewood. So it's not a flawless transformation yet, but this renovation encapsulates an entire year's worth of really hard effort. And my primary aim was to complete it promptly and to stay away from all these major overhauls. But despite my initial aspirations for this really extravagant transformation, I settled on a basic cosmetic revamp. And I want to rely on creativity to enhance the beauty of the space while preserving its 1978 charm. The cabinets are now painted in a coat of Valspar Country whitewash that is complemented by Sherwin-Williams Biltmore buff adorning the walls. And I wanted to maintain the kitchen's yellow hue as a dedication to my mother and father-in-law who cherished this color for about 5 decades. And although there's still flooring to replace and some painting left, I am genuinely thrilled by the transformation. The most exciting part now is curating the items that not only serve daily needs, but are also there to infuse charm and character into this historic family home. And it is now entering its 7th decade under our care. Now let's put the fun back in functionality. So what is the big deal of an old rusty colander that looks like it's stepped right out of the 1970s? Well, let's start with the fact that it's green, and green is one of the kitchen accent colors, so that makes it pretty awesome. And it is pretty beaten up, and it's also very rusty, but this works great, not for straining spaghetti, but for taking it outside and putting the garden vegetables in them to bring them inside. So I don't care if this gets muddy. I don't care if it gets dirty. Since it's designed to get wet, I'll just take it over to the garden hose and give everything a once-over rinse. Then I simply bring it back inside and I can let those things drain in the sink itself. So this is just a perfect item to grab and go, and I don't really have to worry about how filthy it gets because I'm not actually touching cooked food. Plus, I can simply style it by hanging on the wall. So it's both a decorative and a very, very useful item. I got it for the half off day sale, which happens every Monday. They had it marked at $5.99, so I paid $3. And then there's this I found, and I don't know what this is. And when I saw it, I thought, well, this would be perfect for my bacon drippings, and then to just put it on the stove, heat it up on the warmer, and then use it at will. And as it turns out, that's exactly what this is for. So I snatched it up on half off day, and it's been sitting in my kitchen, and I have yet to get it all cleaned up and shiny and ready to go. But in the meantime, it's still an awesome find. It's just one of those things that you have to have. And if you're somebody like me who saves their baking drippings, these come in quite handy. And you're somebody who wants to save on the price of butter by saving your bacon drippings like they did in 1930, well, then it's a really old style way to go. And that's what I'm into. The older the better. So I have here a cabinet that I found a couple of years ago, and I found it at Goodwill for, I think it was like $40.99. I'm kind of on the fence as to what to do with it. On one hand, it looks really fantastic in the kitchen, and I'd be able to house a lot of my spices, but it would also look really, really good in the dining room, and I've got a perfect place for it on top of that. So I'm in between the idea of keeping it in the dining room where there's an absolutely perfect place, or keeping it in the kitchen where there's an absolutely perfect place. If it stays in the kitchen, it's going to be a little bit harder to clean, so that's a big factor. And it's got such a perfect place in the dining room, that's another factor. And I can use it as a spice rack. Either way, it isn't going to matter. It's really for all the jars that I collect. Yeah, I'm not sure. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Do I keep it in the kitchen? Do I keep it in the dining room? Yeah, I'm having one of those indecisive moments when it comes to this. I would have hoped it'd been easier. You can very easily find these metal tins at just about any thrift store, where they are often abundant and rather inexpensive. Now, they are incredibly versatile for various purposes, and here are two ways that I have upgraded them. This particular tin has been repainted and now holds my kitchen cloths, which have replaced paper towels in my daily routine. It matches my kitchen's color scheme, and it keeps these essentials within easy reach. I roll up the cloths for efficient storage, and the decorative aspect simply adds a lot of charm. Then there's this second tin. It was originally copper colored, and I repainted it and repurposed it as an under the cabinet light shade. It was a very cost-effective but creative solution at just about $10 for the whole project. And these tins are readily available at thrift stores, often at very low prices, and they can serve a myriad of purposes. Now, admittedly, I've accumulated a few too many of them, but I still have a lot of house to outfit, so who knows what the future holds for these thrifted finds. And this is one of these items that I thrifted on Facebook Marketplace. And the reason why this is really special to me is my mother had this very same ceramic pitcher when I was growing up, and I just remember being young and trying to pick it up when there was a lot of Kool-Aid in it, and it was really, really heavy. And I just remember this being in our house. Well, when I cleaned out my mother's house, I never did find it, and I was very, very sad. So I managed to score this on Facebook Marketplace, and it's just a throwback to my childhood. And since I like to drink iced tea, and this is ceramic, it would keep the iced tea cold, and it's just much better than one of those plastic pitchers. I'm trying to get away from using plastic, but I love it. And again, it's called the Daisy pattern. It is a Marcrest. And I have been occasionally finding other pieces. Somebody had an entire collection of this at my favorite thrift store, and I didn't buy some of the pieces, and I look back on that day with some pretty severe regret. But again, I don't want to collect just for the sake of collecting, and I didn't see myself using any of those things. And I found a couple other pieces that I actually managed to buy. If you wait just a minute, I have this. This is just the Marcrest Daisy pattern casserole dish. And I love this. I got it for $7.99 at Goodwill. And I just think it's fabulous. It's got the lid, so it keeps things warm. It's just the right size for our family of 3. What's not to love about this? It's still that throwback from, I don't know, 60s, 70s. I'm not really sure. But it was a great deal, and it was one of those things that I could see myself buying and still using. So I'm very, very happy to have it. And here is the collection of all the various ceramic ware that I am adding to the new kitchen this year, and I'm sure there's going to be much more to come. But in the meantime, it's all just pure, functional eye candy. those of you who don't know me very well, and we've only been introduced through this channel, I am actually a former graphic designer and an artist. So when I go thrifting, I'm always looking out for original items that I can find from other artists. These are two hand-painted glasses by Mindy Sands, and I found them at Goodwill for $4 a piece. Now, Goodwill's prices have been getting more than a little ridiculous lately, and the funny thing about it is if they actually understood what they had, they could have justified pricing these at about 10 bucks a piece, because I know that I've seen them at the Cleveland Museum of Art for $30 a glass. Now, I don't know if she makes the glass herself or she just gets the glass and paints them, but they're beautifully done. They're really, really heavy. I'm absolutely enamored with these. So shout out to Mindy. These are a great find, and I have been enjoying them immensely. And here are the only things that are properly decor for the sake of decor, and that's the artwork for your walls. These two larger painted landscapes are both canvases that I created, and these two small paintings are simply prints that I found at Goodwill. And again, I think they were really overpriced at $7.20 each, but I bought them anyway. And this artwork has all the vibe of the English country house, and I'm confident that they will hold up well under the rigors of kitchen life. So they are going to go on the windowed wall to accompany the black cast iron pans that will eventually hang there as well. And I just find these items to be the perfect voice to create that country house charm, and I just find myself totally obsessed with the English landscape. So they are a clear nod to my personal style. Here I have the category of honorable mentions, and these items just don't need a lot of explanation, but they are too good not to showcase here because they will be an important part of this very busy kitchen. So here I have collected a number of acacia wood cutting boards, both beautiful and very useful, and honestly I cannot get enough of these. And these here are the acacia wood utensils, of which I bought new on Amazon. Now this is a really great set. A bit pricey, I think. Again, I'm trying to get away from the plastic, so I think it's worth it for their usefulness and their style. And then there's this cast iron key lock, and I literally don't know where this thing came from, but I'm absolutely enamored with it, so it's staying here. So any suggestions on what to do with it, let me know. And last but not least are my most favorite large flip-lock mason jars, which I use as basic everyday canister sets. And at this point, what more can I say about my darling 1970s kitchen upgrades? It's been hard bringing it all together, but it's been well worth all the effort we've managed to put into it. Next on the list will be the floor, and we are laying out an end-grained wood tiled floor where we will be making probably over 1,200 of these end-grained tiles and then adhering them in a herringbone pattern. Now the goal here is to have a floor that looks as old as the house, and with a few clever tricks to age them, I think the floor itself is going to be a big feature in this kitchen renovation. So there will be more on that to come as we get closer to its completion, and boy am I ever looking forward to it. Keep curating your home, everyone, embracing what you adore and blending it harmoniously, even if it seems like it's mismatched. You'll be amazed by the charm that a dash of eclectic fusion adds to your design. And that's all for me today. Thanks for visiting, and I look forward to seeing you next time.